Did you ever hear the tragedy of Vivienne the trust fund baby? I thought not. It's not a story ILMAO would tell you. I needed something to put on screen, so I'm just going to draw a hot dog. For the past few months, I have been working on a comprehensive overview of the controversies surrounding Vivienne Medrano. And when I say comprehensive, I mean actually comprehensive, not a 5-minute summary. I had been planning it as one video, but I just realized that releasing it part by part would solve almost all of the problems I've had. So I'm gonna do that. I'm pretty excited that I can finally start to share this because it's been a lot of work, and I'm more than a little bit embarrassed that it took me so long to realize something so simple. It will probably be somewhere around 15 parts. I've already recorded almost all of it, but I haven't edited the audio yet, so I still don't know how long it's gonna be. But I would consider myself lucky if it comes in at under 2 hours. So comment if you have any thoughts, subscribe if that's something you want to follow, and here are some excerpts from the first couple of parts. So I knew that Vivienne Medrano was a controversial figure, but I think that there's a bit of a boy who cried wolf situation going on. Whenever I looked at people's evidence for her being a bad guy, it was always a nothing burger. Like somebody would say, oh, Vivienne Medrano, literally the devil. And then I'd go look at the source. It'd be a screenshot of a terse but completely normal workplace conversation. Or it'd be the bathtub snakes. Anyway, as you can tell, I got tired of looking into it. So at some point, when people said that Viv was a bad person, I stopped checking their sources. I just rolled my eyes and scrolled on past it. But a few months ago, I stumbled into a rabbit hole. The rabbit hole being Vivienne Medrano's bad behavior. And I've been falling down that rabbit hole ever since. I'm starting to think it's bottomless. So here's how this all started for me. I watched Hazbin Hotel. I thought it was bad. But I wanted to know why. Why did they fumble it? Why was it bad when the pilot was good? I wanted to know more. And I thought it would be a much harder answer to find than it was. It's because they weren't made by the same people. Medrano dropped everyone that worked on the pilot for the series. Well, I don't mean to misrepresent the good woman. She dropped almost everyone. I can count the number of people she retained on my fingers. What I wanted to know first was how many people who worked on the pilot were retained, in what categories, what were the percentages. And the grand total of names that are in both credits is 9. Going back to the Hazbin pilot credits, so if we analyze the data by only counting each person as the first thing they were credited for, so that everyone gets one role, we retained 0 out of 4 writers, 0 out of 4 producers, 0 out of 13 main voice actors, 0 out of 7 additional voice actors, 0 out of 1 voice directors, 0 out of 4 additional character designers, 0 out of 8 visual developers, 1 out of 3 background artists, 0 out of 6 illustrators, 0 out of 9 storyboarders, 0 out of 3 cleanup leads, 4 out of 19 animators, 0 out of 31 cleanup animators, 0 out of 3 compositors, 0 out of 5 sound designers, 2 out of 3 people who worked on the score, and 1 out of 5 people who worked on these songs. Quick recap. This is counting anybody in any role, even if they were credited multiple times. Even counting it like that, the roles that 0 people carried over from were producers, main voice actors, additional character design, visual development, lead animators, lead cleanup animators, SFX, CGI, and visual effects, and the areas in which only Vivienne Medrano herself carried over were writers, additional voice actors, illustrators, cleanup animators, and compositors. Now let's crunch the numbers. So not counting cleanup animators or outsourced labor, 9.3% of the people who worked on the pilot were retained for the main show, and 5.3% of the people who worked on the main series had worked on the pilot. I think I'm starting to see the problem. Except, I was lying. Much later, I realized that you can't just take the credits raw, because the credits for the series are the same on every episode, as I said. There is a whole section of people credited on the Hazbin Hotel series that were actually only brought in for the last episode, and they were brought in as an emergency measure when Bento Box just refused to do it. Meaning that the animators, the 4 animators that I credited as being retained, actually weren't. So yeah, to recap, we had, in the total 9 retained, not counting McLauer, because that, Vivienne, obviously, Sam Miller, who worked on the backgrounds, then we had 4 animators, and 3 people on music, and those 4 animators don't count. I'm not redoing the math, but the rate is actually even less than I said. And Perry Grip, I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure that Perry Grip only did the opening credits jingle, as opposed to on the pilot he helped write songs. So if we take out Perry Grip and the 4 animators, they actually only retained 4 people, which is less than half of how many I thought they retained. So to sum it up, out of the entire pilot crew, Vivienne Medrano as creator, Sam Miller on backgrounds, and then 2 people on the score. And every single other person that worked on the pilot did not come back, and every single other person that worked on the main series had not worked on the pilot. So yeah, pretty much everyone already knew that she dropped the voice cast like hot potatoes, but she dropped everybody like hot potatoes, except for Sam Miller, and Gooseworks, and Evan, and Perry Grip. Dropping so many of the people who helped get you where you are the second you think you've made it big is a disgusting thing to do.